I've been to a couple of Rick Edelman's, I think it's called Readact now, the RIA Digital Asset Council events. And in the early stages, so rewind maybe two years ago, 2.5 years ago when he started putting these on, there was some stuff that was put out there to help advisors try and think about the size and positioning of an allocation to, say, Bitcoin in a client's portfolio. And I'm not going to say that it was rudimentary, because I really don't think it was. It was designed to be a simple illustration of like, hey, allocate 1% of your client's assets to Bitcoin and the rest of the S&P, and here's what the outcome looks like. So my question is this: with cryptos being, and let's just pick on Bitcoin specifically, because I think it'll be easier as a proxy, with Bitcoin still being relatively new as an asset class and relatively new from more of an institutional investment perspective, how should I, as the advisor, be thinking about sizing and positioning in a client's portfolio, right? And even if I maybe specifically say like the long end of their portfolio, right? How do we start even thinking about that? What are some ideas there?
So we do a lot of work on portfolio implementation. Kind of starts with, where am I taking this out of first, right? Yeah. Is this in the alternative bucket? Is it in the equities bucket? Is it in the fixed income bucket? We see a lot of people take it actually from equities. Yep. Some that are more heavily focused on alts, they'll take it out of the alts bucket. And then from there, we will take their model portfolio or their discretionary portfolio and run an analysis on it. What we recommend is anywhere from 4 to 6% allocation. It's not a one size fit all. Every firm is different. Every client is different. Are you doing it in a model portfolio or discretionary portfolio? Or are you doing it on a client-by-client basis? 2% is the obviously a little more risk-averse side, yep. But we still think that clients it's suitable for 2% allocation does have a material impact and an improved Sharpe ratio, all the different risk metrics, all of those things. 4%, I think, is where we see the most advisors that are allocating. That's what they choose because it's a little bit more conservative from the 6%, but has the max benefits from a Sharpe ratio perspective. Mm. It only increases the standard deviation, which is the risk of the portfolio, by 60 basis points. So it's a 4% allocation. This is obviously a very volatile asset class, but when we talk to our clients, and that's why I love our advisors and clients so much, is that they're not looking to just do a trade and hold for 12 to 18 months. This is something they want to allocate to for the next 5 to 10 years. So we have no one that's liquidating the account when there's volatility from 64K to 30K to 52 to 42. This is a long-term investment, and we can get into where we think it's going, but that's where we're seeing that. And then the 6% is, I would say, for the more risk-tolerant investors, younger investors, or higher net worth investors that really understand this investment in this asset class. Anything above that, we see that the risk becomes a little bit too high given the volatility. So the advantages of that kind of mix in a portfolio stops at 6. Mm-hmm. So anywhere from 2 to 6% is what we see. In practice, when we do our customer interviews, we're actually seeing between a 4 and 5% allocation, which I think is really interesting, mm-hmm. because it does take time for people to understand this. But when they're ready to allocate, where they say, hey, I want this to be a meaningful position in my portfolio. I understand the investment thesis. I understand that adoption is growing just as fast as the internet was in the late 1990s. So this is somewhere I want to allocate, betting on this technology and this asset class becoming an important part of our digital economy over the next 5 to 10 years.